Hello everybody and welcome to Karina Paints Fruits. For this segment, I am going to paint a peach, as you can see right here on the screen. If you thought if it was another fruit right here, it could be an apple, I don't know. This right here is an avocado that I painted a few days back, and then I was like, I painted my favorite fruit. Let's go with my second favorite fruit, which is a peach. And yes, avocados are fruits. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure to roll up your sleeves so you have long sleeves. Acrylic paint does not come off of clothes. It only comes off from smooth surfaces. So if you're a little messy, wear something that you don't mind getting some paint on. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the background. When I started this process, I wanted to paint the background a turquoise color, but then when I started mixing the color and it looked great, but then I started putting it in the canvas and I realized, hey, this looks like a swamp, but hey, we went with it. So we're going to call this color swamp green. So I painted at the bottom of the canvas of the background of the peach along all the way midway, and then I started adding some white to the middle where I stopped, so that white will act as the blending point where I will be putting a lighter swamp color at the top of the canvas. So just go ahead and blend your little heart out and just make sure that it looks somewhat of a gradual change between the top and the bottom. So after you're done painting up with the white, go ahead and I went ahead and grabbed the lighter swamp color and painted at the top of the background. Again, not my favorite color, but I think it looks good so far. So after I painted the top with the lighter swamp color, I went ahead and added some white to the corners along with the top edge of it. This will act as not only adding texture to the background of the canvas, but also as a gradual change between the darker bottom and then the lighter top. So we're going to create almost like a shadow going on. We want to make it look like the fruit is floating, but not really. I went ahead and added some more green at the bottom because I'm like, hey, it doesn't look enough like a swamp. Let's make it look even more like a swamp. So then I regretted the decision. I'm like, yeah, let's just go back with white and try to make this a little more presentable. So I went ahead and grabbed a little more white and painted some patches at the left. More at the top, and just blending them out the best that I could. I tried to go closer to the peach outline. Don't worry if the green goes towards the actual peach. That is okay. We can always paint over that because, it's acrylic. You could overlap the colors. So after we're done with the background, we're going to go ahead and start coloring in the peach. I started outlining the outside of the peach with this orangey peachy color. We're going to call this radioactive salmon because that's honestly what the color came out to be. I was going more for a peachy pink red, but it turned out to be this fluorescent orange, which it turned out to be pretty cool. I kind of like it. I like it with the contrast with the swamp green. So with a smaller brush, I went ahead and outlined the outside of the peach. It does not have to be perfect because we're gonna paint over it. So as you can see, the inside of the peach is not so smooth, but that's okay. Now, if you were wondering what this weird top part of the peach was, that is the outside. So the peach is going to be, the view from it is going to be cut in half. So because the top of it goes inwards, I realized you have to see a little bit of the fuzziness of the outside. So we're going to head and color it in with that radioactive salmon color, and then you're probably asking yourself, hey Karina, that looks more like an apple rather than a peach. Yes, you are very correct. I even started questioning what I was painting, but hey, we're gonna make it look like a peach. So I went ahead and grabbed a little brush and added some white to it, and I started kind of dotting it in blended it with the wet fluorescent salmon that I made. And then after that I grabbed these burgundy color. It was a darker red burgundy color, and I also dotted it in. So we're gonna try to make the effect of the fuzzy peach. With the fuzziness, we want to make it look like it's velvety. So with the white I added highlights, and with the burgundy I added the shadows of it. Just try your best at doing those steps along the outside of the peach, and then just again blend your little heart out. It does not have to be perfect. You're just adding some texture. We can just call this an abstract version of a peach. So after that is done, I made this honestly very beautiful yellow color. I was very impressed the way it came out. It actually made the swamp green pop out more than it already does, and it was a good contrast between the two colors. So I went ahead and just lined, and as you can see I covered the very non-smooth edges at the inside of the peach with that radioactive salmon color, and just kind of cover those, and then we're going to go over it later once that layer dries, and just cover the entire inside of the peach. Once I got to this point, I realized, hey, this actually looks pretty good. I do not regret the swamp color of the background at all. It actually kind of makes the peach pop out a little more. So just go ahead and paint the entire inside of it with that beautiful yellow. We're going to call this sunny yellow. It is very bright and very lovely. So after we're going to let that dry for a second, we're going to go in with some white on the inside. So if you guys have ever cut a peach in half, where the pit is, you can see the fibers of the peach coming from the middle part where the pit is, going outwards towards the outside surface of the peach. So we're going to try to recreate that texture. So at first I'm going to put a very light and very blended white on the background, all around the peach. And after that we're going to grab a very flat brush, and we're going to let that dry for a second. And then we're going to go in with actual white streaks, starting from the center where the pit is, going outwards. This effect will make it look more of the fibers actually growing outwards from the center, going outwards towards the peach. And honestly, I love this effect. I started doing it. As you can see, the acrylic paint is kind of bunching up or creating this 3D effect because it's not completely flat on the canvas, which is actually pretty cool, I like to think. I kind of left this. I did not smooth it out. It added an extra layer of texture. So I just went ahead and kind of went all around with that. So I let that dry, and while it was drying, I went ahead and grabbed more of that beautiful sunny yellow, and I covered some of the radioactive salmon color that I kind of was not too detailed on, making sure that it was neat and just going over it. And it doesn't have to be perfectly covered. Again, that extra shadow adds more texture, more depth to the peach. So once I let that dry and make sure that the white little rays or streaks were dried, I went back and added even more on top of that. Added just an extra details. Just pretend you're painting a sun with some rays going out. After I was done with that, look how beautiful that looks. That actually looks like the fibers coming out of the pit. So I was very satisfied with that. You should stop at some point. Once I was done with that, I went ahead and grabbed some burgundy, the burgundy that I use at the top of the peach to make it fuzzy. I just went ahead and grabbed some and put it in the middle where the pit is. I went ahead and grabbed my brush and outlined the outside of it, and then painted the inside. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfectly filled in. If there are like little lighter patches and darker patches, that is okay. If you guys have ever seen the pitch of a peach, it is very, very detailed. It is almost very veiny. It is very textured. It is very discolored. So we're gonna go ahead and try to do that with our paint. So I grabbed a tiny little brush, a tapered brush, and with some white, I went ahead and did some curves and some lines, and I intertwined them, trying to emulate the texture of the peach, and just went ahead and just free-handed it. I went ahead and did some of the highlights of the pit, so just do some lines, some curves, go all around the peach. It doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, here's the final result. It looks pretty textured. After that, I'm going to mix some of the burgundy that I used, and I'm going to grab some dark brown and mix those colors together, and then make the shadows of the pit. So I just went around trying not to cover the white of it and try to go in between and making some shadows for the pit. Again, just do whatever your little heart desires, and try to make it seem as textured as possible. I just went at it. If you want to sign your name in the middle, if you want to make it into a tiny little, where's Waldo, where's my name in the middle of the pit, you may. So after I was done with everything, I let it dry for a second, and here's the final result. Here is my peach. I think it looks pretty good. It does look like a peach at first. I'm like, this is definitely an apple. Forgot what I was painting. Here is my previous painting of the avocado. I might make it into a series of Karina paints her favorite fruits. What do you guys think? Maybe a mango, maybe a papaya. I like fruits. They're one of my favorite foods. So here you go. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to continue seeing me paint a series of me painting my favorite fruits, make sure to follow us on our Facebook at Galena Park Branch Library, and at our Instagram at Galena Park Library, and Twitter at Galena Park Live. If you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to message us on any of those social medias. Or if you have any suggestions of the next fruit, maybe a guava. Maybe you guys like guava and you want me to paint a guava. Let's paint a guava. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. And thank you for watching me paint my favorite fruits. See you guys later. Bye.